the Green Team, so let me introduce my team. My name is Olivia, and I'm from the Technical University of Dublin, and so is my teammate Dana. Then Raluca and Andrea are from the Cluj-Napoca University. Now let's go inside. Right in the middle here, you see a spinning globe, which is a great way to tell your team, which is climate action. Now I will walk you around all the sections of our building. So over here we have one section that Andrea can explain further.
I try to build a small aquarium to acknowledge you what could polluted water possibly due to us. And moving along, Olivia.
Yeah, so moving on, here is a display on carbon emissions, and there's also a little quiz attached here. Here is Dana's section that she can explain.
Here I did an exhibition about a small percentage of the animals that are affected by climate change. For example, penguins and polar bears, their habitat gets destroyed because of the climate change and how warm it is. And the snow melts, which makes it bad for the habitat that these animals are living in.
Okay, now I will take everyone upstairs. There's also a ramp here for accessibility purposes.
Yes, here I put some information about how can we save the planet by using solar panel and replanting trees.
Yeah,
and then move along.
Yeah, and now in this corner we have everything about recycling. There's loads of posters you can read to learn more about it. And in the other corner here is just a small section about a specific target, target 13.1, about agriculture. We have a little display that shows all of the targets that are in the 13th climate goal. And now we will give you guys a presentation, which is outside, so follow me for it. Okay, so before we start, for anyone with hearing difficulties, there is a note card in the beside the benches that you can grab to hear the whole speech we're gonna give. Okay, so so hello everyone. As I said, we are the Green Team and we're going to talk to you about climate action. I will start us off with a quick intro to what climate action is, and then why it matters. Then Raluca will take over, followed by Andrea, and finally Dana will wrap things up. Each of us will be covering different parts of this topic, so let's get started. So, climate action is part of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and specifically its 13th goal. It's all about tackling climate change either by stopping it from getting worse or by protecting people from the planet and its effects. Basically, it means doing things that reduce global warming, like cutting pollution, using clean energy, and preparing for things like floods or heat waves. And even though governments and big companies play a huge role, individuals like us are part of the solution too. One way we can help is by lowering our carbon footprint, which is just a fancy way of saying how much pollution we're each responsible for based on how we live. Things like the electricity we use, what we eat, how we get around, and even how much waste we create all add up. A few simple ways to make a difference are switching to renewable energy if you can, eating less meat and dairy, using public transport, walk, or bike instead of driving, and of course, reduce, reuse, and recycle. Even small changes can add up to a big impact if enough people are doing them. And lastly, climate action isn't just about science or politics, it's about people. You don't have to be an expert or an activist to make a difference. You can talk about climate change and help raise awareness, support leaders, and care about the environment. That care about the environment, sorry, and choose eco-friendly products when you shop and get involved, whether it's a beach cleanup, a climate march, or even just sharing posts online. So that's it for me. Thank you for listening, and now I will pass you over to Raluca.
Climate change is not longer a problem for the future. It is happening already here and now. It affects every person from every corner of the world, regardless of country, continent, or standard of living. Extreme weather events have become increasingly frequent. We are witnessing forest fires, powerful storms, floods, and droughts, even in areas where these phenomena were once rare or non-existent. All of this pose a threat to the lives of humans, animals, and even the balance of the entire planet. The main cause of these changes is human activity. We burn fossil fuels that pollute, deforest forests, and produce much more than the planet needs without considering the consequences. And the planet is reacting. Temperatures are rising faster than expected. And if we don't act now, the effect will become increasingly difficult to stop. At the 2025 Cleantech Conference, it was emphasized that climate change is not only an ecological challenge, but also an economic opportunity for Europe. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said that all of you are proof that the green industrial renaissance has begun, highlighting the crucial role of the Clean Industrial Deal in maintaining Europe's competitiveness and global leadership in green technologies. Thank you so much for listening, and now I will pass it over to Andrea.
Thank you, Raluca. What will happen if we do nothing? If we do not take clear and rapid action, climate change will severely affect the world we live in. All the progress made in recent years, economic development, poverty reduction, food security, risk being lost. Without action, millions of people will lose their homes due to natural disaster or the lack of resources such as water and food. This will lead to mass migration, instability, and ultimately even armed conflicts. The most vulnerable areas, especially the poorest ones, will be the most affected. Between 2010 and 2020, these regions experienced up to 15 times more deaths and floods, droughts, or storms compared to other areas. Ignoring the problems means, in effect, accepting the gradual extinction of the environment we live in, and the long term cost will be the much higher than if we act now. Time is no longer our side. If we do not act now, the consequences will be devastating. So millions of people are at risk of losing their homes due to natural disaster, and the lack of resources such as water and food will lead to mass migrations and economic instability. Additionally, the event emphasized the importance of the international and financial cooperation to support innovation and decarbonization. Jigar Shah mentioned that the Europe's strength lies in its ability to respond quickly to industry demands, making current action crucial for our future. What we must do. The science is clear. If we want to avoid the most dangerous effects of the climate change, we must limit global warming to a maximum 1.5 Celsius degree above the pre-industrial level. To achieve this, we must reduce greenhouse gas emissions by almost 50% by 2030. This means there is no time for vague promises. Concrete, bold, and sustained actions are required. All sectors must participate. Energy must come from renewable sources. Industry must become cleaner and more efficient. Transport must switch to electric or less polluting alternative. Agriculture and food production must respect the environment. Forests must be protected because they absorb carbon dioxide. Each country, each company, and each person has an important role to play. Only together can we transform society into one that is resilient to climate change and ensure a sustainable future for all. To address the changes of climate change, we must accelerate innovation and investment in the green technologies. The priorities must be collaboration between the public and private sectors, the use of artificial intelligence and data infrastructure, and transforming supply system to reduce carbon emissions. This is not just an environmental issue, but an opportunity to transform the European economy into one that is modern, resilient, and globally competitive. Thank you so much for listening, and now I will pass over to Dana.
Thank you, Andrea. I'll start off by talking about the current efforts and gaps. There have been investments made towards renewables such as energy by using solar panels and wind turbines through natural resources such as sunlight and wind. However, it is not enough. For the year 2019 to 2020, the climate finances had reached $803 billion in hopes to help our society with our actions towards the global climate changes. Even so, it is still dominated by the spending of fossil fuels. Thankfully, there are over 120 countries that are working on national adaptation plans, which means that these countries are now taking action to reduce vulnerability to the impact of climate change. Why should we take action? The expense of inaction is greater than the expense of finding a solution. Unfortunately, there is more that is not being done about our climate crisis. This costs us our future. Big corporations must take major steps to achieve the goal of fixing our crisis, such as businesses, investors, and governments. It has gotten to the point where it is no longer just ethical, but also a smart economics, considering how much has been spent on trying to take action and yet little has improved. We need to act now to improve our future living conditions. Lastly, in conclusion, climate change is the most significant issue in the world, and the global warming gets worse day by day. Our planet will face unpleasant consequences if action is not taken immediately. We must spread awareness and protect our environment for ourselves and future generations. The climate is changing. Why aren't we? Thank you for listening.